Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and welcome back again for yet another episode on Tool Talk. Yes, there was some gap. We are starting after really long gap, but we are coming with the bang. We are coming with a topic that is very important to us. Tooling for electronics industry, challenges and opportunities. And as we know, electronics industry is continuously growing. About 2 decades back, we were the one of the largest consumer of electronics product, but now we are gradually becoming one of the largest producer of electronics products as well. And when we get to that, it needs a very healthy, very strong ecosystem that also includes tooling. Tooling industry has been predominantly focused on the automotive industry, but when it comes to electronics, we are still at the early stage. So that's what we are going to discuss today. And for that, we have with us Mr. Stephen Babu, who is Vice President at Business Development, SFO Technologies Pvt. Limited. Welcome, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you. Thank you, Nishant.
So as I said, Mr. Stephen, we have to we will have about 30 minutes of discussion and then we'll move to audience question. To the audience, if you have any question with Mr. Stephen, please post it on the chat box. I'll read one by one. And just to introduce Mr. Stephen with everyone, Mr. Stephen brings over 34 years of experience across tool making, operation, engineering, and business development. Diploma holder in tool and die making from NTTF, he began his career as a mold maker and went on to hold leadership role at Avian Meteor, Centrum Electronics, Molex India, and now SFO Technologies. He has played key role in building global tooling capabilities, developing 300 plus high precision contractor molds and high speed stamping tools, and managing strategic relationships with companies such as GE, ABB, and L&T. As a vice president at SFO Technologies, he drives growth through client partnership, engineering excellence, and advanced manufacturing system. Under his leadership, the company has achieved strong revenue growth and global certification, including ISO 13485 and AS 9100D. No. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen, again for joining us.
Thanks again, Nishant. Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Stephen, just to set the context of the conversation, I would like to understand from you is what's the current state of the Indian electronics industry. Electronics and semiconductor has been growing continuously. Even government has made it a strategic sector for the next wave of growth and also have launched so many PLI schemes as well. According to you, where do we stand in the electronics industry at the global stage?
Sure, definitely. Before I answer this, I want to wish everybody a very good evening, and I want to thank Tagma for inviting me for this talk, and especially Nishant and other team members. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being here. Always great to be with like-minded people. Yeah. To begin, as Nishant mentioned, that we are growing rapidly. We were one of the biggest consumer for electronic goods, and today we are one of the biggest manufacturer of electronic goods also. So we are growing tremendously. I would say 24, 25, we ended up somewhere around $52 billion, and expected growth in next 4 years is double. That is, we are going to cross 100 plus billion dollars. So that's a tremendous. So that's like 100% jump in 4 years. So it's approximately 18 to 20% per annum is what we are growing. So that definitely requires a lot of industry ecosystem, which India is driving. And the main demand comes from consumer electronics, basically domestic consumer electronics. Then we also have some exports. And as you know, that major phone manufacturers are also coming to India, like iPhone, which has come to India. So that is one thing, and semiconductors is growing so much, and consumer electronics, and the automotive is becoming more of electronics these days. So there's a demand for automotive electronics also, and this is growing. And Indian government is doing good, as Nishant mentioned, PLI scheme, and most of you must have heard something called Indian Semiconductor Mission, IESM. Yeah. So that is one thing. Rapidly billions of dollars have been invested from both the side, private parties and partnership with government, and so that way I'd see definitely a good growth in the industry, in the electronic industry in India.
Thank you so much, Stephen ji, for setting up the context. When you said that we are growing rapidly, in 4 years we'll be doubling our market size in the electronics industry. Semiconductor is another sector that's growing rapidly. When we are, witnessing such kind of growth, do you think the supply chain in India is ready when it comes to right from tooling to, other kind of manufacturing, injection molding, steel, metal, and all those things, skill to supply chain, everything?
I would say I will play devil's advocate here. I would say we are not ready, but we are there. We are coming up, though not at the speed at which is required, but still we are coming up. We are making baby steps. Like no, we have certain sectors which is fully developed and supporting this industry. There are some sectors which need to grow and come up to the speed.
And according to you, what kind of opportunities it is going to create for the tool makers? Tool makers, as we know, and I said also before that, we have been very much focused on the automotive sectors. Of course, since last few years, there has been a great opportunity coming up from many other sectors like aerospace, defense, medical, and electronics, of course. So, within the electronics industry, what kind of opportunities you see for the tool makers?
Yes, as everybody knows, any industry grows only with tool making. Like no, tool making is a backbone for any industry to grow, whether it's aerospace, medical, electronics. So especially electronics, because electronics got box built and you need to do a lot of tools, whether it's press tools or plastic injection molds or dies, die casting or fixtures, jigs. Like now, we need lot of tools requirement for this. So definitely, there's a big opportunity. It's like see you build a temple. Around that, you see the shops coming up, which caters for flowers, like food, so many things. Likewise, so the electronic is a big giant. Electronic industry is a big giant in India, which is growing. So definitely, tooling industry is one of the service industry which needs to grow, and definitely the opportunity is there. Like no opportunities, I would say, like no, as the domestic demand is growing in electronics, consumer electronics is growing very big. Like no, the demand in consumer electronics in India is very big, and definitely the industry is getting up for that, and tooling industry also should get up to that. So the demand is there. Then mobile phones, then smart electronics, medical devices. Again, aerospace and automotive is still growing. Automotive is a kind of a more matured compared to electronic tool making. Automotive tool making is more matured in India, but definitely there's a big requirement for the tooling industry in the electronic field.
So how tool makers should align their strategy and align their skill set to cater to the electronic sector? How best they can make most of this growing demand in the electronic sector?
This is a very interesting topic, and which every tool maker need to focus. Like unless we upscale our skill levels, we're definitely not going to satisfy the demand. The demand is very high. Demand is set. Like no, if like no, you go to a shop, you don't get something, you go to the next shop. Likewise, the electronic industry will not wait. If India is not going to cater to the demands in the tool making, they'll go elsewhere. So
Yeah.
what is required is like no, first thing I would say, like no, a very strong tool design has to be developed. Like no, the teams has to be well versed in tool design, whether it's press tool or a mold. The first thing is the tool design. They're capable of doing a wonderful DFM to ensure that now we do a flawless design for manufacturing. Then we need to have very good CAD/CAM engineers. CAD/CAM engineers play a very important role. Again, they need to be very good to ensure that the fastest cycle time they should be able to program, and the best result they should be able to get out of the best finish, and the result they should be able to get. Then the tool makers. The good tool makers are required, who will be able to do the right assembly, machine operators, polishing, assembly operators. All this skill is very important. And the next important thing is the right selection of steel for whether it's a mold or press tool. Right selection, the knowledge of selecting the right steel is very important, because you need to look at a long usage of these molds or press tools. So you need to use the right selection of steel, and then the process knowledge. Like now, we may end up doing very good in doing tools, but the process knowledge is very important. Many times we fail in that. A good process knowledge capability is required in any industry. People should be able to do a very good processing in such a way that we follow scientific processing methods. So we don't flaw. Then surface coatings. Surface coatings also, we should get into advanced surface coating technologies so that it can cater to the industry requirement. So I would say I'm just rightly speaking only on the manpower. I'm not touching the machine requirement yet. Probably the next questions I can answer that. On the manpower requirement, starting from a very good design, then CAD/CAM engineers, and then going to the operators, tool makers, process engineers, and final troubleshooting things. So this need to be improved in our level.
So I think in your last answer, largely you focused around the skill development part of it. So according to you, what we as a community of this tooling community has to do, we need to do to enhance our own capability in terms of skill development? What role company like yours can play, who is a user of tools and also manufacturer, and then other large companies from the government, from the tool makers, what all we can do together to enhance the overall capability?
Training is very, very important. Training, upskilling the people is very, very important. We don't focus on that, especially like small and medium scale industries do not focus on training. They take engineers or managers at the level and they just continue with them. They don't try to scale them to the level which the world is looking at. There are some programs where the OEMs are doing, big MNCs are doing, but that is a part of the global program. Like now, the global demand is that they have to do some training, they'll do some training, but a real training to see the latest technologies, latest advancement in the field, latest machineries, or what is the best technology available in the market, the people has to be trained. So many people do not invest. I would say the biggest investment after the machine and equipment is on people. On people means it's just not hiring people, but it's also training them. So there are platforms, probably Tagma could be one of the platform which is doing this kind of things, and could be the other platforms. I know NTTF is doing this, going around industries and training people. So there could be any platform, people can be trained. So training is very, very important. We normally don't focus on training.
Right. That brings me to another question. Whenever we talk about any industry, we ought to compare with China, and you have extensively worked with Chinese tool makers as well. And Chinese electronics industry as well as their tooling industry is very well developed. According to you, where they are different, what they are doing great to as a tooling community?
I will make it two-part. One is electronic industry. As you see, the globally, most of the MNCs started going to China 25 years back because of cheap labor and government policies, cheap land availability, and a lot of supporting procedures. So that's why many of the global companies went to China at the time. And because of that, the electronic industry boomed in China. And to support that, the tooling industry also started growing. People from Singapore, Taiwan started investing in China, the tooling industry started growing. Today, they've grown up to the level wherein there were times 25 years back when we used to buy molds or press tools from China, we always used to think that it is probably second rated or it will not last for long. So we had doubts on the qualities. But today they're able to cater to companies like iPhones, BMWs, or Sony, including Japanese companies. So that is the level which they've grown. So a very focused approach has been done there, both by the government as well as by the private people, industries. So that is one thing. And they, over the period, they've learned a lot of things. They've gone through a very tough learning curve, and they learned and they built an ecosystem. As I mentioned, my first this one itself, supply chain is very, very important. They built a very robust supply chain in China for the tooling industry. I'm talking about tooling industry. They built a very robust supply chain wherein you don't have to struggle much to get the right steel, the right spare parts, or the elements going into the mold or a press tool. You get it just like that, just around you get that. And the ecosystem they built, the ecosystem which they built is a collaborative work. It is not one tool maker who's done that. It's not a couple of people who have done it. It's a collaborative work wherein you go to places like Shenzhen or Xiamen or Chengdu. You go to these places, you see a collaboration wherein a tool maker, a main tool maker, just does only finish machining. It does not do anything apart from not even the pre-machining, not even the heat treatment. Even the rough machining after heat treatment, the pre-machining after heat treatment is also done by somebody else. They get the component, the product, like the steel, which is semi-finished. They have to do only fine machining, polishing, and get to the assembly stage. So they build ecosystem in such a way. The trust is also built between them. Like they don't negotiate on prices. Like when they send the design, they take it for granted that no, this is the price at which this insert is coming. This is the price which this core insert or cavity insert is coming. So the ecosystem is built such a way, and the trust is built in such a way. So I would say absolute synchronized teamwork happens there. And that's why they're able to deliver to the world. And when you see like, no, that's why they're able to do 3 weeks, 4 weeks lead time for such complex press tools and molds. So that ecosystem is definitely a thing to be appreciated, I would say.
So you mentioned three things like, collaborative work and, expertise, like one company doing just one part of the tool making. And also there is an ecosystem available. Do you think these things are missing in India?
Very much, very much. I've been advocating this. I would say practically I tried this myself for my company. We tried, but it is not so successful. It's not so successful. What happens in India? We don't take pride in doing only ejector pins. We don't take pride doing only pilot punch. Like now, we always want to do something very big. So we don't it's not like that. Somebody does only I've seen companies which does only pillar bush, nothing else. Okay. So in India, normally what happens? The first year, somebody you train and you ask them to do a pillar bush only or a mold base. They do it for the first year. Second year, they want to do a complete mold. So they lose the focus on that. So that is definitely lacking in India.
And that's why these Chinese have become expert in every activity that they do.
Yes, definitely. So what happens? A person does only punches, only punching. Like for the stamping tool, if he does only punches, he becomes an expert over the period. Like over the period, its things. One thing, he does it very fast. He mass produces his cost is very competitive. He gives in a very cheap cost. And secondly, he also improvises. Like he says, because he does only pillars, he says, okay, today I'm giving out this kind of punch. So what can I do? Can I improve my coating? Can I improve my steel? Can I improve my hardness? What is the customer demand? Like can I give something which is so polished that it doesn't wear out so far? So there is opportunity for them to think. So you're doing everything by yourself. You want to do a pillar bush by yourself. You want to do the sprue bush by yourself. You want to do everything mold based by yourself. Then you don't have time to think about specializing things.
Right. So, do you think any way of collaboration with the Chinese tool maker would bring any benefit to the Indian tool makers? See, we all know that there is some sort of anti-China sentiment, right? And we want to reduce import from China in as much as possible. But they are expert, and let's accept that. So, do you think that the Indian tool makers collaborating with Chinese tool makers would bring some value to the tooling community, Indian tooling community?
Yes, I would definitely say that. I am a strong believer of not to reinvent a wheel. You don't have to do things on your own and take 5 years, 10 years. Because Chinese has taken 10, 15 years to come up to this stage. You don't have to take another 10, 15 years. Like by the time you lose the opportunity. Best thing is to collaborate. Not as a single, not just one tool maker going to China, learn from him, come, because it needs to go as a ecosystem, complete ecosystem has to go. People have to learn things, come and implement, and a lot of things to learn from Chinese tool makers. We can definitely implement that, and we can definitely grow in that way.
Right. You mentioned about Apple also, sourcing from China. They were actually making the most of their product in China. And in one of the interview, the CEO of the company, Tim Cook, had said also that in USA, I don't know how many tool maker must be there, whether we can even fill a conference room or not. But in China, we can fill up the several football ground with tool makers. Now, Apple build almost 11 billion worth of iPhone in India. Are we supporting with the tools for those products in India?
Yes, I would say proudly that we fabricated and supplied high-speed stamping components for them, a very small 0.08 thickness, very small components. We were part of that development. And not only that, our company SFO is also involved in providing automation solutions for Apple phone manufacturer in India for Tata Electronics, and we are doing a lot of automation and tech jigs and fixtures for them. So we are definitely doing big thing for them. I'm proud to say that we are part of that development. And yes, you mentioned rightly that why so many tool makers in China and not India. Actually, India has got the highest number of institutes from which tool makers graduate anywhere in the world. India has got the highest, like starting from NTTF, GTTCs, from every state has got its own tool making institutes. The reason why people don't stay in tool making is I don't know. I don't know what is the reason. I take pride in being a tool maker, but not many youngsters have that same attitude of calling themselves like tool makers or taking pride in that. But in China, you see that. Now, they're very proud to be called as a tool maker. So tool maker is a very renowned profession there, and you're respected for being a tool maker, whether you're owner of a company, whether you're a machine operator, whether you're a polisher, you still have that respect. So that's why you see a lot of even youngsters, even till today, youngsters are still going for tool making industry in China, and the iteration rate is very, very less in China. In India, nobody wants to stay as a tool maker for life, and nobody wants to stay even for 5 years. Like, no, they want to come as a tool maker within few years. They want a white collar job. They don't mind going for a BPO job than working in a factory.
Then how do we solve that, sir? Because if we have to become stronger, we need these young people. How do we solve that?
Yes, I would say like catch them young. Like industries, the big industries, like maybe like big automotive industry, big electronic manufacturing industries, to have their own training systems. They have to have their own training institutes. Like within the tool room, they should start developing the trainees. Like they should ensure that those people are taken from the school directly and trained and certified with them. So what happens is that the possibility of them staying longer in this field and with the company is increased. You take a graduate, an engineer, normally the chances of them staying for a longer time is very low. So I would say big companies where they can afford, invest on training people and research and development.
Okay. So coming back to the how do we get into the electronics industry? Uh, let's assume that we have a tool room that's catering to the automotive industry for a long time, and now we saw opportunity growing in electronics industry. How do I align my skill, my infrastructure, and my strategies to get into electronics industry? And who should I approach for the work and everything?
First thing, the right mindset should be there. You should completely come out of the automotive mindset, because electronic industry demands a very, very high precision tooling. Whether it's press tool or whether it's a mold, you require high precision because the components are small. Components accuracies are very, very high. The pitch accuracies are very high. If you see, even if you take it for assembly, these days assemblies are going into robotics, like automation is there in assembly and auto. So you cannot afford to make parts uneven. Like it should be very precise. So when the robot assembles, the pitch should be accurate for every component. So similarly, the entire mindset has to change. If suppose a tool maker is doing a lot of automotive and is been trained in automotive way of making tools, and if he has to get into electronics, then first thing is he has to ensure that he has the right machines, because electronic industry requires high precision. Like you may require machines slightly smaller, high precision, probably high spindle speed. Like now, if you're using wire cut, you should have a very small wire getting to that 0.5 or 0.08 or 0.1 wire, or like very small cutters. So your entire equipment has to change, at least modernize, at least to enhance your equipment, and also measuring equipment has to change. Like you need to ensure that you have the right measuring equipment, a smaller CMM, a good microscope to ensure that small components are measurable, and the skill of the people also has to change, because in automotive industry the accuracies may be slightly different, but electronic industry requires a very, very close tolerated inserts to be matched together. So the hand skill, the tool maker skill has to be improved, and also the machining skill has to be improved, and the design is also entirely different from automotive industry to electronic industry or connected industry. So you need to train. So probably if you have to change, one is the equipment you can just buy, like you can invest and buy the machines, but you have to send your people for training, to get trained, whether it's here, abroad, somewhere, get them trained to that level.
Again, the training becomes the key here.
Yes, very much. mindset. The mindset has to change completely.
Right. Uh, when it comes to tool steel that you mentioned few 10 minutes back, does it differ from industry to industry as well? What kind of tool steel one has to choose for the electronics industry compared to the automotive industry with the kind of stamping and all is needed?
I didn't get the question, Nishant. Can you
Tool
come again?
steel, you mentioned
Yes.
tool steel, yeah, tool steel you mentioned. Do you you said that equipment can be same, of course, the machine can be smaller with a high RPM rate or something. So tool steel also differs or it can be same?
Yes, definitely. Tool steel definitely changes because if you're looking at high precision, the inserts are very small. For example, if you take a press tool, you're running at a high speed, or like the inserts are very small, you have to go with something which is harder, which also retains the shape for a longer time. Similarly,
Right.
when you go for mold, core and cavity also. If you go for automotive industry, many components can be produced with the pre-hardened steel, like P20 or IR and something. But if you're looking at high precision component, definitely you have to go with a very good tool steel. So selection of tool steel is very, very important when it comes to electronic industry because electronic industry is mass production, volumes are very high, and has to run consistent for a very long time. So selecting the steel is very, very important.
Got it. Just a couple of more questions from my side before we turn to the audience question. Uh, you have dealt with so many tool makers in India and around the world as well. Give me two examples. One where you had challenge working with the Indian tool makers, one where you had extremely satisfied outcome working with the Indian tool makers. You don't have to name the tool makers. What was the challenge? What was the issue?
Uh, it's not a good thing to tell, but still I have to tell it because people have to learn from what it is.
That's why. That's yeah.
Yeah. So what happens? The attitude of Indian tool makers is when they achieve something 95 percentage, 96 percentage of the accuracy, they think that they achieved full. They come and present it to you, to the customer and say, I got the component. So when you check it, then when you say, see, you are not meeting this thing, you say, no, see, you see 99 components or 99 dimensions are met, only 2, 3 dimensions you're just complaining. Why don't you accept it? So they have the attitude and the guts to ask the customer to accept, even if it's not fully. But you look at the Chinese or Taiwanese toolmakers, they don't do that normally. They don't even come back to you asking for deviation. They don't even come back to you. They ensure that no, they give 100%. And if there is a damage to a core, if there's a damage to the cavity, there's no second thought in the Chinese toolmaker. They just go and change it. If there's a scrap, if there is a dig mark, if there is something happened, mistake in the CNC machining, they just go and change it. They don't even tell anybody, they just go and change it. But in India, they will weld it or sometimes they don't even tell you. They just put a sub insert or just put some welding things and then they say only when you go for inspection, then you come to know that no, it is. So this attitude has to change. I'm not complaining. Probably we are grown up like that, but this has to change. Unless this changes, you cannot be compared yourself as a world leader in tool making.
One good example working with any tool maker.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to mention the name.
That's right.
Yeah, we had a big project for the U.S. market for the U.S. customer, and this toolmaker completed. This toolmaker completed the tools, and he said everything's finished. And no, he came with the tools. He came to our shop floor and started trials. And I see no, he's not even no fully machine patient. No, there's so many things which are mismatching the flash. And he said, "What do you expect in for 8 weeks? This is what I can give." He's turning directly towards me. He said, "You gave me only 8 weeks." I said, "I gave you 8 weeks. You accepted 8 weeks. Once you accepted, you should deliver. You shouldn't say, come back to me and say that, no, it's your problem that you gave me only 8 weeks. But if I had given
Yeah.
the same 8 weeks to some other toolmaker in China or Taiwan, they would have just delivered. There's no going back. And what you accept, you should deliver. You should honor your commitment. Suppose you say, okay, I'm going to deliver in 6 weeks, you should deliver. It's just not for the sake of taking the business. You take, yes, I will do it in 6 weeks, and then you take 10 weeks. But you go
Yeah.
there to China, whether you go to Taiwan, now, if they say 6 weeks, fifth week, you have the samples with you. Maximum is the 6th week, the last day, at least you will get the samples.
Okay. Okay. So they are not the commitment.
Commitment.
Nice. Just last question from my side, sir. If you had to advise the Indian tool makers on five most important parameters of improvement, what would those 5 parameters be? You have actually
Uh,
mentioned a few of them in bits and
Few of
pieces,
them.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
still,
will
if you want
repeat.
to
I
put
will
it in,
repeat it.
yeah,
I would say one is try to be a solution provider end to end. That is from the design to finally qualifying and giving the best product into a customer's hand. That is like, no, you need to do the DFM, design, manufacturing, trial, that should be under your scope, processing should be under your scope, and give the final product and teach the customer this is how you need to process. So this is what most of customers accept. Secondly, stick to your timelines. Whatever may be, stick to your timelines. Whatever timelines you're committed, stick to that. Third point, suppose you damage or something goes wrong, do not worry about the cost because trust is most important. Like, you want to save that 10,000, 20,000 rupees by giving the same damaged insert to the customer. The customer may not come back to you. That's very important. You may lose something in this project, but definitely customer trust will increase if you be loyal to him and do not give a damaged insert to him. Instead that you replace and give a good insert. So the attitude, that shows, that is one thing. And secondly, focus on skill development, training of people, and most important, process knowledge and automation. I would say automation is also very important. Like now, people do not use data analysis. I think you should start using data analysis and see what is going wrong. Like now, collect all the information in your industry. Like now, how much machining hours it's taking, what is the problems. Like now, so once you start collecting data, you analyze the data, you'll know that no, okay, I'm losing time in probably getting the programming done. I'm losing time in machining because I'm using a wrong cutter or wrong selection of speed or feed. Like no, get into that kind of thing. So you can become more efficient and you can become a good toolmaker.
got it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sharing the information. The few
Yeah.
takeaways for me is that, of course, the electronics industry is growing rapidly and it will create a huge demand for the tool makers. However, there
Yes.
are some challenges from the tool making side that we need to, correct. We need to work as a community. We need to have better collaborative approach. We need to create clusters or a ecosystem. We need to work on our skills. We need to have the mindset for
Yes.
the precision, for the timelines and all. Thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing all the details. Let's get to the questions from the audience. To everyone, if you have any question, please put it in the chat box. I'll read it one by one. This first question from Mr. Shubish. He says, nice to be part of the meeting. I would like to ask your opinion about what percentage of tool cost do we expect to save by using interchangeable inserts?
That depends on component to component. Normally, uh, interchangeable inserts. For example, if you have the similar kind of components with only profile changes, interchangeable inserts, you save a lot of cost. I would say, like, no, instead of making 5 tools, you make a single tool and with interchangeable inserts. So suppose your overall 5 tool cost is going to be 1 crore and you may end up doing only 40, 50 lakhs, you'll be able to do that. Depending on how much of the variables that you want to do, the savings is as much.
Got it. Another point from Sudhanshu is I like the point where Stephen sir mentioned people like to be called tool maker in China. My question is how can we hype our industry so that the young people take pride in joining it?
See, as is, for example, like, uh, popular, you have to make it so popular. Like, you have to make it popular. I wouldn't say like, in India, cricket is very popular. Yeah. It doesn't require any introduction in India. Cricket is very popular. Likewise, when the industry grows, when tooling industry grows, when tooling industry start delivering, when tooling industry becomes like rich, when you have a multi-billion-dollar tooling industry, then definitely it automatically creates, uh, I would say, a space within the country to say, okay, tooling industry is big. Like today we many people take pride in telling they're software engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because they're delivering to the world. They're catering to the world. They're like even companies like, from USA or across Europe, a lot of people take service from India. So if the world starts taking service from India, the world comes to India for tool making. Today we are just doing components. We are not exporting much of molds or press tools to other countries. If we get into that level of precision and accuracy and start delivering to the world, automatically you'll create a sense of pride for the tool makers in India.
That's a valid point. Thanks. Another question from Mr. Subish again. What preventive measure can we incorporate now to extend tool life beyond 1 million shots?
Coating would be the best, I would say. Get into now the lot of latest cadmium coating and so many other coatings have come. I think that is the best thing to give. And secondly, tool design is very, very important. Tool design design the tool in such a way that it is easy for maintenance. You don't have to remove the tool, whether it's a press tool or a mold. You don't have to unload the tool many times for preventive maintenance. Ensure that the tool is made so you don't require any preventive maintenance. It should be just cleaning and running. So with that, and if you use the right steel and the right coating, definitely we can increase. We have made tools which goes for 5 million, 6 millions also.
Nice. Another question from Mr. Udaya Sethi. What is the tool life expected in electronics industry?
It depends. Like now, for example, connector industry requires anywhere from 5 million to 10 million. And consumer electronics, like mobile phones or things like that, expect 1 million to 5 million, 1 million to 5 million. Medical equipment requires slightly lesser because medical equipment, the sales are not very high. So can be 1 million or less than 1 million medical industry. So connector industry is the one which requires very high. And components, we are doing electronic components like components for ICs or any switches or any actuators. So those kind of things, they require very high, maybe 5 to 10 million to life.
One question from Mr. Archit Agrawal. What other things can we work on data analytics? Like what resource one can look up to research and implement manufacturing analytics specifically for tool room?
There is nothing rightly available in the market for tooling industry. I still remember that we tried something from SAP and my previous companies like Molex and things like that. It did not work. So probably we need to develop. We need to bring some software developer, bring somebody who's into data analysis, some expert, some consultant, and show your facility, because every tool making industry is different. Suppose you have 10 machines. Somebody is having 20 machines, somebody is having 30 machines. So everything is different. So you have to show your criteria. See, I'm having 10 machines, and this is my downtime. This is what my efficiency is so low. So you have to get some expert to ensure that they develop a tool for you to do a data analysis. It is not readily available in the market, I would say. So we need to develop using our expertise and some consultant who can help you out in this.
One question from Mr. Akhil Mittal. What is the use case of special aluminum like Alumake and Alumold for mold making?
Alumold? No, I didn't. Come again, please.
What is the use case of special aluminum like Alumake and Alumold for mold making?
It is good. Basically, it's good. I would say probably it can be good for proto, and also it can be good for low volume molds. It can retain shape to some level, but definitely not to the extent where it can go up to pre-hardened steel, pH high hard or hardened steel. So good for easy machinability compared to steel. It's easily machinable compared to steel. So it can go for proto as well as for low volume productions. But not preferably for electronic industry wherein you're looking for high accuracy and long cycle times.
Right. Another question from Mr. Vishal Patel. As you mentioned, many scope for the joint venture with China or Taiwan tool makers. So which kind of collaboration opportunities like design technologies, transfer, or CKD parts import?
CKD part could be for the beginning, but you don't make much profit by CKD. Your margins remains very slow. I would still prefer design would be the best. Design would be best to collaborate with the Chinese tool makers and copy the manufacturing technology. As you sign a memorandum for design, probably copy with them for the manufacturing technology so that you can implement the same here.
Another question from Mr. Kamalakannan. How can we improve the tool design or tool making capability and capacity in India, expecting some easiest way that enable current generation to learn it quickly with more interest?
there is no easy way. I would say to Mr. Kamal Kannan, there is definitely no easy way. You need to go the hard way. You need to have the right design and right tool makers, and it doesn't come so easily. It has to come with experience. It has to definitely come with a lot of experience. So retaining the right tool makers, retaining the right skill in your company to get the best tools out is very, very important.
Question from Mr. Vishal Patel. We'll take two more questions from here. As part of this industry, we know if design, as part of the, one second. As part of this industries, we know if the design and preparing well, then there is the not 8 to 10 week lead time of mold, with China previewing with a fast delivery. So where is the India behind to prove it, and what kind of action to be taken?
I think I already answered this. Like, it's a overall ecosystem, which I would say, like, the Chinese tool makers does not do everything in-house. Once the design is complete, probably within a week's time, a maximum 2 weeks time, he has everything in his shop floor coming from other places, like including the pre-machined hardened steel is there with him. So directly they start the finish machining and assembly. Finish machining, polishing, assembly is the only work what they do.
Question is, since mobile phone part design changes frequently, how can we reuse the existing mold component in such situation?
For press tool, I would say you should go for modular type of designing, wherein the inserts, the basic press remains, the basic tool remains the same, only change the punch and die. So you should give a provision. Similarly, for molds also, you should design in such a way like how a connector mold is designed, wherein you just change the core cavity, a small portion of the core cavity you just change, and you should be able to do the iterations.
Question from Mr. Amit. Please mention tool steel grades used in electronic industry.
Electronic industry, like different grades are there, SKD grades are there. I would say Stavex grades are pretty good. They come with a lot of varieties, including good finish, very high chrome percentage with them, gives a very good polish levels required for the electronic industry, because most of the box built in electronic industry requires a very high gloss finish. A finish is required. So Stavex comes with a very high chrome and gives a very good, even the hardness also we get quite up to 60, 62 hardness we get. So I would prefer, I am not advertising any company as such, but steels which has got a high carbon and high chrome percentage is what I would say. It could be Starbucks or it could be anything.
Right. Last question from Mr. Akhil. For the design, I have seen China using the software for automated drawings for the all components in 3D model assembly. Is there any such solution available in India?
No, currently we don't have any solutions. Those I've noticed many companies using that, but they are very specific to their products. For example, connector tool manufacturer in China has their own design. They have developed their own platform wherein you have to just load in the component and you will get most of the design. I would say 90% of design completely automated. So overnight you can create a design. So there is nothing, as of I know, there is nothing available in India. Probably we need to look into that.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your time and sharing all the information with us. It was extremely insightful. To the audience also, thank you so much for taking out time and joining the Tool Talk session. Stay tuned for the next Tool Talk. It will be on 19th of December at 3:30 p.m. again. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you, Nishan. Thank you. Thank you, participant. It was wonderful talking to you all. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha. Goodbye.